So hello everyone. Let me start this video with a question for all of you and I want you to actually think about it. Have you ever had a fight in your relationship that started with money, but then after the fight started, it ended with something completely unrelated? For example, it might have started with, why did you spend this rupees 5,000 or 100 rupees or two, whatever petty expenses? And then actually the fight ended with you or your partner saying, you never understand me. So this is not a money problem. This is a relationship problem triggered by money. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't break up because of love. You break up because of the money you never discussed. And that is something very important. If you look at the numbers, 45% couples argue about money at least occasionally. And 40% admit to financial infidelity, meaning they have hidden money matters from their partner. 62% keep some money separate, which the other partner is not aware of. And 73% people say that financial fights are actually worse than political debates or political fights. And given that we live in India, and if you must have seen the political debates happening across in the country, you know how intense in that particular scenario a money related fight would be. So today I'm not here just to tell you why couples fight. Obviously, that's not the broader topic. It's about how we can step by step fix whenever money is involved in a fight or money is the sole reason for a fight getting initiated. Now, let me ask you a few uncomfortable questions. Who manages money in your relationship and who saves more consistently? And who out of both of you spends without telling the other person? And be honest, because the data we already have in the screen that you're seeing, on the screen that you're seeing, and if you look at it, 45% couples actually argue about money in the relationship. 62% of them keep it separately and 27% of them have secret accounts. 43% people say that financial secrets feel almost as bad as physical cheating, which is a very big statement and a very big red flag. Now imagine this. You open your bank statement, which is also something that a bank account which your partner has the rights to or can operate, and you see 15,000 rupees gone. And it can be both ways. Either of the partner can be involved. You see 15,000 rupees is gone. The other partner would, ask, what is this? Because that other person doesn't know what's happening. And the answer from the other partner would be nothing, it's just petty expenses and all. Now that nothing is actually which will create everything. Most couples don't have money problems. They have money communication problems. Communication problems, let's not go into that. It's universal, but this is something which can be called as a money communication problem. We'll talk about one type of couple, which I would like to term as split wise couple. Do you, I would like to ask all of you who are watching this video a question. Do you all believe that, splitting everything 50-50 is fair? Let's take an example of a couple where both of them earn 1 lakh rupee per month and they decided to split everything equally: rent, groceries, OTT subscriptions, everything 50-50. Now, this sounds perfect, right? But here's the hidden reality. One of the partners sends a portion of his or her income every month to support his or her parents. And the other partner doesn't have that responsibility, no family commitments or nothing of that sort, and hence is able to save a portion of money from his or her salary. The other partner who has a family commitment struggles to save even a small amount as a savings from his or her income, because obviously because the family is dependent on him or her. Same salary, same lifestyle, but completely different stress and cortisol levels. The partner whose family is dependent on him or her feels the pressure, and the other partner feels that the partner on which his or her family is dependent is not financially disciplined. And slowly the frustration builds and piles up. Now, what is the solution for this? How smart couples would actually deal with a situation like this? They should not split bills, they should split burden. And I've seen this happening, and smart couples actually do it the right way. They split it. I mean, for example, an income expense ratio can be determined based on the total income of both the partners involved. So if one person earns 70% of the total household income and the other partner will automatically earn 30%, so the expenses should also be split 70 to 30, not 50-50. Obviously, a more logical and rational way of going about it. So if it's 30,000, 70% partner, the partner who's earning 70% will pay 21,000, and the other will pay 9,000. Now both are contributing fairly and both will feel respected. And I think this is the right and a very scientific and a very old school way of going about it. Simple math, plain vanilla math, nothing else. Contribution should be based out of capacity and not comparison with, they are doing it equally, we should also do it equal. Equal is easy. Fair is always intelligent, and we should all understand this. Talking about another type of couple, the Instagram couple. I think all of you would relate to this. All of us know a couple who looks perfect on Instagram or any social media whatsoever. Foreign trips, fancy dinners, or meals and brunches, and new upgrades to the phones every year, perfect outfits, OOTD, and what all. You look at them and think, wow, they are living the dream life. Let me show you the back end of this dream life that you think they are living. 45,000, 50,000 EMI every month, 2 lakh rupees credit card debt, 18% interest ruining them silently, and zero savings altogether. Do you think this is the right approach? A financially disciplined approach? They would look rich, but they are financially fragile. And I hope this is making sense to all of you. And how can this be fixed? There has to be a lifestyle cap given, which can be predetermined amongst the partners, that this is something that we are going to spend maximum on our lifestyle upgradation. This is something we are allocating towards this particular thing. So this is very subjective, but it has to be done. The principle has to be followed. The specifics can be customized. Maximum 50 to 60% of the income will go to lifestyle. Balance can go to other long-term commitments, goals, objectives, whatever, investments, savings, whatever. And a practical framework should be like, whenever you're going to do a big expense, you should ask yourself, or us as a couple, ask yourself, can we afford this without an EMI? Will this expense that we are trying to do matter in 6 months? Are we buying this for ourselves or for others to see and get impressed by us? And the golden rule is, people can debate this. I mean, but I have no second thought on this, and you may have a different view. That's just fine. There should be no EMI for depreciating assets like phones, gadgets, luxury items, etc. Please try to think about it, because it is something that crumbles you financially. And we should not upgrade our lifestyle as a couple faster than the way our net worth is growing, because we have the habit. We are humans. We have the habit of the tendency that whenever we get a windfall income, or our salary or our recurring income rises, we upgrade our lifestyle instantly, and there's no wrong thing in that, but it has to be done in a sensible manner altogether. Let me take another example with you, which I would call the secret saver concept. Now, have you ever hidden a financial decision from your partner? Think about it. And it may not be a big one. It can be small, small, petty things, an investment that you did not mention to your partner that you did, right? And it can be a purchase that you did not disclose. You told yourself that, it's not a big deal and it's fine. I've just done it. I need not tell my partner about it. Or if my partner can create problems on it. So whatever reason. And actually 40% people have admitted that they do this. And I don't find this to be wrong. It can be done. I mean, obviously it depends on a lot of aspects, but personally, if you ask me, I don't think this is wrong. 27% of them keep secret accounts, so that the other person doesn't know that how they are doing the transactions. And 43% say, we have already mentioned, this is as bad as cheating, which is again a very big red flag, a very big statement. Now, how to fix this without losing the personal freedom of either of the partners? Please try to create a transparency with boundaries. What you can have is, you can have a three-layered approach. The first layer being full transparency, where both the partners will know the income, the debt, or the investments and whatever. The second layer could be a partial privacy, like not a full disclosure. That could be on personal spending level, where beyond a certain threshold, the partners would have to know about each other, and beyond a certain limit, an immaterial amount that you can fix. I'll come to it in the coming slides, but that can be fixed, and then there will be no questions asked on that particular amount. And third will be maybe a zero tolerance secrecy, where there can be hidden loans, there can be secret liabilities. Either you want to conceal them, you don't want to conceal them, that's your. But so The idea is to have your, so it's not about telling each other everything. It's about, respecting each other's boundaries as well, giving each other space in the relationship they want, and also not try to act in a controlling manner. So your statement whenever you talk to your partner should be something like, I don't need control over your money. I need clarity about our future, which is fair to ask for. And transparency always builds trust. Secrecy will only build distance. This is something I believe. Now, talking about a traditional trap, and we'll talk about something which is very common. One partner earns and the other is dependent on the other partner because that person is not earning in a relationship. This looks normal, but it creates silent problems. The earning partner will feel a kind of pressure, and the dependent partner will always try to feel restricted because with every purchase, it will be like, asking the other partner, can I buy this? Can I do this? So that dependency come, and slowly that money thing will become a power that, this person is dependent on me. So that happens. You may think that, this is not possible. I love my partner, but that ego and that thing, we are humans. I'm again repeatedly telling you one thing, and I'm repeating the same thing, but it's very common. So please try to avoid dependency. Smart couples should do that, and not by forcing income, but by creating that sense of security. Both partners should know all the financial details. Both should have access to the funds, no matter who is earning, who is not earning, and both should maintain some personal financial buffer, even the partner who is not earning. For example, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees can be kept as an emergency fund. And love should never feel like a financial dependency, because that is again something that can spoil your relationship, right? Now we'll talk about a real problem, and we'll go deeper into whatever we discussed in the previous slides. Do you think couples only fight about money or something else? 73% of them say that financial fights are worse than political fights that we discussed in the previous slides. And 20 to 40% give money as the reason for divorces, which is again a very big statement. But here's the truth. Do you think money is actually the problem? Money is not the problem. Money is the trigger behind the problem. So next time a fight happens between you and your partner, please don't try to be reactive, but try to be translative. And what do I mean by that? Instead of asking, why did you spend this 5,000 rupees, my opening statement when I started the video, you should say something like, I feel stressed when we don't plan expenses. So if it can be put this way, it is better taken by the other person rather than like an allegation that why was this spent. I feel this way when this happens because of this and this reason. This is how the framework should be when you're communicating. Try to fix the emotion, and the money problem will automatically disappear. Now, there has to be a solution mindset shift also. Now, what do you think is the big shift smart couples would actually do or are doing? They stop managing money emotionally. First of all, which is very important, they start managing it all the more systematically, because the less the friction, the more the transparency, the more the progress, and you can see that on the screen. So this is a framework that has to be followed. Now I'll talk about the 3 account rule, which I read in a book on couple investing, which I read recently, and I like the concept. That's why I've taken it in the video. One joint account where both the common expenses, the shared household expenses are being done through that account, and you have 2 individual accounts for both the partners each, right? And their personal transaction, your salary, if you both of you are earning, the salary is coming to those personal accounts, and from that a predetermined amount is going to the joint account. That allocation you can decide a fixed percent automatically. There is a auto pay system given, and it gets transferred to your joint account. Rest is all personal. You can do your personal transactions, and you can layer it the way we discussed in the previous slides. Rent, groceries, household expenses from joint account, shopping, OTT from personal account, whatever way. If you're watching a common OTT, you can do it from a joint account, whichever way, and that's customizable. The idea is to have a 3 account, different account kind of a system, right? And this will cause, create a transparency without any sort of suffocation. And give it a thought after the video, like, does this make sense to you or not? Income ratio model, we already discussed in the first slide that based on the amount of income that you're generating, the ratio has to be allocated. So this is a very old school kind of a thing, and obviously rather than 50-50 splitting, which is an equal approach. A fair approach has to be adopted, and fair is always greater than equal. This is something that has to be understood. And contributions, this expense contribution ratio can be revisited every 6 months, because in the 6 months, dynamics can change, and there can be a shift in your salary structure, your income model. So every 6 months, it's a thumb rule that you revisit this and try to modify it as per your own needs. And there should be no ego at all, only pure, simple, vanilla mathematics, which all of us have been taught, arithmetic, which all of us have been taught in our school and primary education levels. I mentioned about a no questions asked fund when I was talking about the layering approach, right? And this rule will actually save your relationship. And this was again from a book that I was reading recently. 5K to 10K thousand, I mean 10K per person per month you can keep as a no questions asked fund, where you can spend this amount, and and you have actually agreed that no person will ask questions on why, what is, the why are you spending this amount, where you are spending this. So this will, this is what is a no questions asked fund, where you don't need to explain the other person, and nobody will track this expenditure that you do. For example, one partner would say that the other partner orders food late night, or one partner would say that my partner shops online a lot. So that is the partner is doing from the no questions asked fund. You should not be bothered about it, right? So this is something that is going to help. I mean, this is what the author in the book which I read this was mentioning in a very explicit way. I mean, I have to shorten it for the purpose of the video, but in one line, if I have to say, the freedom will try to reduce the friction that is arising in a relationship because of the financial aspect. And one more important thing is planning of couple goals. 94% couples actually believe they should share a budget, and but few of them actually plan the goals and bucket it into what are my short term goals, what are my mid term goals, and what are my long term goals. Short term can be very weekend trips, like you can see on the screen, dining experiences, or you go for a dinner. Mid term can be buying an asset, car purchase, again a depreciating asset. Don't buy it on EMI, I would say. House down payment, or the family planning that you are planning to do. Long term can be estate planning, retirement, whatever. So this bucketing has to be done, and for this you actually need to sit and define the goals as per your relationship, as per both of your personal obligations and whatever family obligations, whatever. There has to be numbers and timeline attached to each of your goals. Couples that plan together, they will obviously always grow together. You can have, I saw this reel on Instagram where a couple, and I really like the idea, a couple actually goes for couple dates, and they actually once in every 3 months or 2 months or once a month, and they actually do this, revisit this, and it was so amazing. I found the concept very amazing. I don't know if actually they do it or it was just for the purpose of the reel, but the idea was fantastic, and this is something that you can do. डेट का डेट हो गया and planning का planning हो गया. So just a thought. Emergency fund rule, I mean, I talked about, you should have at least 6 months of your expenses in the form of a emergency fund as a couple. Total expenditure, you can't just rely on your salary. And you can also increase it to 8 months, 12 months, based on your needs and all. Because if you read the slide, it mentions for single income households aim for 12 months rather than 6 months. Why? Because if one person loses the job, then the situation will be a very detrimental situation for the family, so, or the couple as in whole. That's why maybe a longer period to be kept as an emergency fund rather than investing it. Or if you're keeping that fund, keep it in liquid funds which are easily redeemable, or keep it in savings account. This is not money. This is actually a peace of mind that you're trying to accumulate. And it's an emotional safety as well. Now, money fights are not about money. The brutal truth is that they are about control, insecurity, and expectations, right? And money is actually not the symptom. It is Money is the symptom. It is not the disease. I would like to term it that way. So this is the brutal truth, and this has to be really pondered upon. And I'm sure that you will introspect and take some time to think about this, because it is very important relationship. And there's a reason why I'm recording this video, to make couples aware, because I've seen cases, so many cases happening around, being friends, family, acquaintances, where things take a downturn when you actually don't follow a fundamental way of going about as a couple in your financial journey. So this is very important. Now, the idea is, if I have to close it, one last question posing to all of you: do you want to be rich individually or stable together? a very important question if you want to look at that way. The strongest of the couples don't earn more, they hide less, they communicate more, and communication is a universal issue that I mentioned earlier only. And the smart couples plan together. Love starts a relationship, but financial clarity will always sustain your relationship. And please remember this. And I think by saying this, I will end the video and I will give some time to all of you to introspect and ponder upon whatever we discussed. And I hope this was helpful and you had a good time. Thank you very much.